Sony. All right. Higher ups, bring it in, huddle around, take a knee. We gotta talk. You see this?
This right here is my favorite thing ever.
This is why we like PlayStation. This is why we support you. Do more things like this. Do not, and let me repeat, do not do this.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting.
And we 1000% don't want this. Look, I get it. You need to appease your shareholders. I 100% understand. But come on. You complain about not being able to monetize single player games, and yet you release this beautiful DLC download right here for free. Now, don't get me wrong. I love that it's absolutely free, but you know you easily could have charged $10 for this. It would have sold like no tomorrow. Everyone would have eaten it up, and you would have made a ton of money. Now, again, like I said before, I love that it's free and everyone else does. But that just proves the point right there. You take the time, you give it to the proper teams, and you let them do what they do best, and they will give you the stuff that will make you money. Not this online BS crap right here. You want to have one or two live service games? I 100% get it. Have a good quality online service game for those who love your platform and everything, and go from there. Absolutely 100%. I mean, heck, owning Bungie right now, you should see the cost that it takes to support this stuff. Oh, what's that? Bungie is down 45% in its revenue? Geez, either they hid that from you when you bought them, or this is just new information to everybody right here. So, are we all in agreement right now? Let the teams do what they need to do. Charge for a few things if you need to, absolutely. Keep up the awesome single player stuff. Have a live service game or two. Not this one right here. Not this one. Get this shit out of here. And I think we'll be good to go. All right, everyone good? Okay, break. What's going on, everyone? Town here with Direct Gaming, and today we have some big news, and it is very good news in my own personal opinion, and I think for the most part the internet's saying the same thing. Yes, I know the diehard fanboys are not particularly liking it, but trust me when I say this is good, because you will get the game that you deserve just a little bit further down the road. I know you want it now, but trust me when I say this is for the best. We gotta talk about everything when it comes to Naughty Dog and canceling The Last of Us Online. At least that's what most of us have been calling it. We got to go over everything, what the internet is saying, how this is going to impact things going forward, and has Sony finally started to see the lights? If you enjoy this type of content, then leave us a like on the video if you happen to enjoy it, and sub to the channel always helps us out as always. And I want to know your thoughts down below. Comment down below right now. What are your thoughts on all this live service stuff? Things getting canceled, things keep going. Let me know everything. I want to know. Do you think this is good? Do you think this is bad? Without further ado, let's get into this though. Before I go off on Sony, let's go over the official statement from Naughty Dog themselves when it comes to The Last of Us Online. For those of you who don't know, The Last of Us Part 1 actually had a multiplayer mode tied to it. Unfortunately, it is not in the remake, which is on PlayStation 5 right now. But if you played the original version of the game, they had an online mode, very similar to the Uncharted series back in the day. And a lot of people liked it for what it was. It didn't have hundreds of thousands or millions of players playing it every single day, but it had a pretty good sized player base based on past data and everything. Well, then after Sony bought Bungie, everyone's thinking, oh, this must be what they're working on next, because there were hints and leaks about an online Last of Us only kind of live service game. And lo and behold, there was. We saw some concept art for it, and apparently it's been in development for quite some time. But there have been some huge road bumps. Not only has Sony gone in and canceled over half of its live service stuff, which, by the way, 12 is way too many. Jesus, no one's got time for that shit. And this one just keeps getting delayed. There were notes of Bungie going in and saying, yeah, this isn't going to work. Although based on previous records and what's happened recently, I don't think Bungie has any room to talk when it comes to live service things, because you guys are down 45%. Yeah, I know that's mostly due to management. That has absolutely nothing to do with the developers. You want to see the full story when it comes to the Bungie stuff? Top right corner, check out this thumb right now you're seeing on screen. It shows exactly what is going on. And whew, Sony, just honestly take over Bungie, but we'll get into that in a second. Anyway, let's take a look at Naughty Dog's official statement right here. We realize many of you have been anticipating news around the project that we've called The Last of Us Online. There's no easy way to say this. We've made the incredibly difficult decision to stop development on the game. Thank you. Okay, I know fanboys are raging right now, but let's continue on. You're gonna see this is good. We know this news can be tough for many, especially our dedicated The Last of Us factions community, who have been following our multiplayer ambitions. We're equally crushed at the studio as we're looking forward to putting it in your hands. We wanted to share with you some background on how we came to this decision. Okay, so you're about to see firsthand what it's like to be a developer, not the nitty-gritty every moment stuff, but this should be showing you what it's like, not only for this game, but how just games in general are made, and also why live services are not meant for like 90% of gaming. Thank God. The multiplayer team has been in pre-production with this game since we were working on The Last of Us Part 2. Now, they don't state if it's the little remaster that's coming out on the PlayStation 5, but I'm gonna take a wild guess and say it was when the game originally came out, which was about 4 years ago, give or take. As the multiplayer team iterated on their concept for The Last of Us Online during this time, their visions crystallized. The gameplay got more refined and satisfying, and we are enthusiastic about the direction in which we are headed. AKA, we're really ready to put this in probably with one of the Last of Us games, and Bungie came in and squashed those dreams. Just saying. The higher-ups, not the developers, obviously. In ramping up full production, the massive scope of our ambition became clear. To release and support, this is the important part, to release and support The Last of Us Online, we'd have to put all of our studio resources behind supporting post-launch content for years to come, severely impacting future developments of single-player games. Thank you! They have finally said what most of us have known. Yes, thank you. Look, I get it. This kind of environment, it actually would have been pretty cool to play this game, especially if going on to PC. It would have been awesome to see. But if you have been paying attention to what is going on with Bungie after they got acquired by Sony, which I'm sure Sony is really scratching heads and not liking that move right now, it is expensive to keep a live service game. That is why 95% of them flop. And would you look at it right here, they have literally spelled out on paper for you and me to see why this is not going to work. Because guess what? Unless you know without a shadow of a doubt that this game is going to bring in hundreds of thousands of players and keep them, keyword, keep them there for years to come, that is a loss right there. Just saying. Now, I know big single player games, especially the ones made these days, it costs millions and millions of dollars to make. And obviously you've got to hope that it's going to recoup those costs and everything, which for the most part, Sony is able to do with its big single player games. Spider-Man, God of War, Horizon. Unfortunately, Horizon does get the shaft sometimes in terms of release, but it's still an amazing game. And then they release things on PC later on. They have their third-party deals and everything, and it all works great. But you want to know why they're going towards this live service stuff? It's because that's where they see the big money symbols from all those third-party guys. The higher-ups, the board, and of course, the investors want more money. That's all they're there for. They're a business and everything, and if you don't accept that, then, well, I've got some hard news to tell you right there. That is why. They are a business after all. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. None of that stuff. But the games that they make, the teams that are able to make these games, they pour their soul and passion into these games, and they are amazing. Again, just looking at God of War Ragnarok, that game released over 2 years ago, and now we have a free DLC that is not only great in the gameplay, because the gameplay was already good in God of War Ragnarok, but there's actually a good story behind it. Everyone was surprised about this. The trailer didn't show shit. And then everyone starts playing the game and you go online and you're like, holy crap, there's like a continuation of the story, the amazing story from Ragnarok and everything. You're not gonna get that in a live service game. You're not getting that at all. Get that shit out of here. Look, I know I might be raising my voice and acting dramatic and everything, but regardless, this is amazing news that this online thing has been canceled. And you know what? It's probably not gone. I would not be surprised if down the road in whatever game they have upcoming next, they take some of those concepts, some of that development time that they took and put it into their future game. Remember when Uncharted games released with multiplayer? Yeah, they weren't the greatest or anything, but guess what? They brought players in. People continued to play it for a while. Yeah, unfortunately, the servers had to be shut down eventually. I don't know if they're actually open to this day. And that's just online gaming in general, and digital. Don't even get me started on that. We don't own shit if you buy only digital. But regardless, it is there. If people take notice of that, that's more content that you can put in. I'm not saying to go back to the old days of 2008, 2009, where every single game had to have multiplayer in it or anything like that. But all of that time spent on live service stuff could easily be implemented into your single player game, into your online game, into whatever type of game you're making. And that is the stuff that gamers are going to like, because it respects our time and doesn't shoehorn everything in and have crazy ass shops that charge $60 for cosmetics. I am so sick and tired of that shit. Gamers, stop buying that. Ugh, sorry, was getting a little ranty there. Regardless, I hope you can see why this is good. I mean, we've been seeing it across the news for the last few months. I mean, we saw that during one of their reveals where they showed off games like Fair Games and everything, which, God, everyone just tore a new one right there, and Sony probably saw that. Then after a while, we saw that Sony was delaying half of its 12 planned live service games. Let's, again, keep cutting that down. Again, 2 to 3, totally fine. You know, you'll find your audiences and you'll make some money coming in. But make sure the teams that are making those are not from your teams that are good with single player games. History repeats itself again. Single player team makes good game. Company heads come in and say, hey, make that a live service game now. They don't know how to do that. Make a team that is dedicated to doing that and wants to do that. Don't pull people off other teams to make your shitty live service game. Make it here. Luckily, Sony seems to be going in the right direction. All they need to do now is get rid of the management at Bungie, keep the talent though, you know, finish up the final shape and keep doing some of that Destiny stuff if you want to. That could easily be one of your live service stuff right there. It's still multi-platform, making a shit ton of money from it. But then take the talent who doesn't want to work on Destiny 2 or anything from Bungie right there and make a brand new team, still call it Bungie if you want to, whatever you call it, and have them make a brand new first-person shooter something. It wants to be something from a different first-person shooter, that's totally fine, but Bungie is known. Everyone knows who plays Bungie games. Halo, Destiny, regardless of your overall thoughts on the games, no one can deny that the shooting mechanics are the best in the business. There's something about playing a Bungie game when it comes to the shooting of a gun that just feels right in their games. It's absolutely amazing. Do that. Sony, you are lacking in a good first-person shooter, especially because Call of Duty will go only to Xbox after a while. The contract, I know, says that it's multi-platform still right now, but guess what? It's gonna go to Xbox only. You don't spend that type of money to put it on your competitor's console or anything. Now, I know there's also some news about potentially Xbox just dipping out of the console race and becoming just a publisher, essentially. If that happens, I guess, you know, this will obviously change things right there. But regardless, do that with Bungie. Let your teams keep working on the games that they want to make. And again, if you want a live service game or two, make a dedicated team that is actually good at doing that. Know what you're getting into with the finances and make it good and everything can go well. With all that being said, everyone, though, I'm going to end it right here. What are your personal thoughts? I know we went from big energy right there to just nice, cool, calm, and collective. But I want to know your personal thoughts. Do you think Sony is finally learning from trying to do too many live service games, and they're seeing the cost that Bungie has been having to deal with for years and years, and finally they're saying, all right, you know what, we got to quickly turn ship because they entered the game way too late and now they got to deal with the consequences? I hope they can, because again, when you give us things like the God of War DLC, heck, even the Horizon DLC, the Burning Shore, that is what we're talking about right there. Heck, you give me a Spider-Man 2 DLC, just like with the original Spider-Man 2018 DLC stuff, I will buy that in an instant. I love that game. It's awesome. Everyone knows it's a good game. Keep doing that stuff. It works. You have your DLC third party as well. You have your exclusivity. Things are gonna be okay. Keep doing what you're doing. Trust me, it will do well. If something big down the line does happen, though, and things have to change, that's fine. But don't make huge dramatic changes like this that piss off over 3/4 of your fan base. With that being said, everyone, I've been Talon with Direct Gaming. Again, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. If you enjoyed this type of video, whether it's news, discussions, then leave a like. If you want to support the channel even more and sub to the channel, it helps us out a ton. If you want to see other videos like guides on all the latest games, we just released a ton of quick guides on all of the new bosses in Final Fantasy 16. And we got a video coming up on the finals. I'm actually loving that game. And that's a live service game right there. But you know what? They are doing some stuff right that Sony could definitely learn from. But anyway, with all that being said, I've been Talon again with Direct Gaming. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope you all have a great day. And we'll catch you in the next one. Johnny.